I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're following Canute in Vinland Saga, Season 1, Episode 20. We're following him. We're on the road. All of us. I didn't expect it.
On the road again.
I didn't think Askeladd and Thorkel would be marching together.
They're friends
but
now.
Water's under the bridge. So are bodies.
And the bridge was destroyed, so.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. It is pretty unbelievable. Wow, we're here.
Eye patch.
I cannot believe we are already here. Oh. God, it's come full circle. Oh.
Yeah, let's lie. We gotta save ourselves here.
Oh my God. Oh, look at that horse. Oh, make sure you
report accurately.
Oh my God. This is the person who I actually want Thorfinn to kill.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. This is his posse. These are his, like, advisors. I'm glad that they had him be still, so that there was still the movement of walking.
Oh God.
In the short run. Thorfinn!
I love the shadow. Listen to this music, man. Oh! I'm gonna take the first step.
Nort's trials.
Damn. This is wild. This is a completely different show.
How's this I don't want to see this.
I want to see this.
I really want to see this
so
just
bad.
Because of how Canute's different now. Oh my God.
Look at how far Thorfinn's come.
Ooh.
Holy shit. Uh-oh.
So they're there in wait, just in case.
We're hoping. I think so.
I know, we are hoping. There's some pride elements going on here.
どうした？姿が見えぬ。
死にました。マーシアの地にて。
そうか。それは惜しいな。あれは誠の中心であった。本来なら趣向を持って帰還を祝うべきだ。一度そなたとは形式抜きで話をしたいと思う。クヌートのみ立て、お前へ進め。
Jeez.
Oh, what a test. Oh.
I wasn't the only one counting that in my head. So that was 11, no?
わずかの間に顔が変わったな。若き日に似ておる。
我が心の内もお分かりでございましょう。
まった子だ。そのようなところまでに似るとは。
子は親のなしを見て育よもやお責めになりますまいな。
This is so tense.
かつて若き日、父である洗脳を国外へし、この王冠を奪ったために良きことと信じたか。残忍にして臆病者だった王冠をいただいては世が乱れる。
何言ってやがる。
黙れ、聞こえるぞ。上を使う気はねえってが、殿下よ、中にいるってことを忘れなさんなよ。
良きことをなした。良きことをなせると。
What a shot. Oh my god.
かぶるまで
Did it change you?
意志があるのだ。
Has its own will. Oh.
万の兵を統率できる。あえる宝を取り
Is that what happens when people are given too much power? It takes
Is
control.
that the nature of it?
力が身にだがクヌートよ、使うのは王ではない。王冠の意志が使うのだ。
王冠が陛下に命じたというのです。私を殺せと。
Holy shit.
王冠が王に命じるのはただ二つ。力を使う。あらもうても無駄なことよ。はそなたを欲してはおらぬ。
Don't raise your sword.
If the episode
Ended
ended
right
there, I
there.
would
Yeah.
have. I like.
Listen to the score. What the fuck?
そなたにコーンウォールの一部をやる。ここで聖書でも読みながら日々を送るがよい。
Oh.
すならこの場で死ぬがよい。
Almost like a you better run away or I'll be killing
そ
you.
のお言葉も陛下。
陛下、恐れながら発言をお許し。
名乗れ。
オラフの子アシェラッドと申します。果たしてこのご沙汰は王冠の意志にかないましょう。
続けよ。
自殿下はロンドンよりトルケルという戦力。陛下がイングランド王にご即位なされれば降伏より他道はありません。無傷のまま陛下のものとなります。犠牲を払いこの戦果をもたらしたるヌート殿下に他なりません。このが罰せられる道理がありましょうか。ご沙汰新たな領地の活場においてを与えます。何とぞ。
口の回る男だ。アシェラッド。ハイマンの父が授けた名を申せ。
に名を与えませんでした。
目かけの子か。奴隷に産ませた子かの。
Holy shit.
なんだテラットがここまで怒るなんて。
濃い重視を持っておるな。そやつの申す通りだ。私には褒美をやらねばな。世は明日ヨークに立つ。褒美はそこで授けよう。
Creating a public display. I don't know what the reward is, but this has gone from informal to formal in public.
肝を冷やしましたぞ殿下。
こちらさえ軽挙に出ねば王の内部ところ。
先ほどのような挑発はお控えください。
何のことはない。王冠の奴隷というわけだ。
Whew.
王冠の力、私が使いこなしてみせようぞ。
Same as he thought about his father.
少々警戒せねばな。
So Askeladd's presence with Canute as his follower meant something to the king.
I love seeing Askeladd be acknowledged for what he's capable of and what his strong suits are.
ガムガムガムガム飲みやがって。誰だおめえは。覚えねえぞ。
私はビリバルドです。お忘れですか。
Did he get cleaned up?
What the fuck?
代に生きながら周りのものに憎まれぬ。
Look at that, like getting to sit next to Canute like that.
で、どうだ、やれそうか。あの王。
難しいと言わざるを得頭の良いお方とお見受けしました。先手を打つ行動力をお持ちです。我々が脅しに屈さぬと見る次の手に転ずるあたりさ上手とも申せましょう。おといったところでしょう。手強いですぜ。
殺すにしても今ではない。
古文は王陛下の隙を伺い無事のご帰還お喜び申し上げます。に心配したことか買いもせず申し訳ござ
The
いません。
head shape is similar
Yeah,
to
I
Ragnar.
know.
Gunnar,
Gunnar, Ragnar, I don't know.
Brothers?
こちらのご人は新しい
ラグナルの弟。
Yeah, makes sense.
オラフの子アシュラッド。
The look in the eyes.
Hi, I'm Askeladd. I killed your brother.
Oh, doesn't know.
ラグナルは死んだ。私のためにそなたが諸国を奔走してくれていたことは大義。グンナル。そなたの仕事は僕だ。使う兵は信用できるものを。
そのような話をこんなところで。
構わぬ。むしろこの場は。
It's changed so much.
さあ、すべてを変えてゆかねばならぬ。
なるってのはいかんな。口ほど天界の中心があると。
He stabilized his arm. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
復讐に余念のないことで。
アシュラット。
え？そうか。国に帰るか。
あ、気にしねえと言ってくれたけど、やっぱ俺たちは裏いいのか。
言ったー。はい、当たった。
Is he like simpler now because of what happened?
Yeah.
ビョルンの傷。
よくもまあこんな真人間が俺の手下になったもんだぜ。は長く持たねえよ。傷が腹渡まで達してる。
Fuck.
What?
昔からの手下はトルフィンだけってことになるな。一発にはちょうどいい。金だ、持ってけ。
Wow.
いらねえよ、もらう。
ロギンが多くと困ることはねえだろうが。
すまねえ。じゃあ。なんだよ、くれんのかくれねえ。
条件がある。二度と剣を握るな。おめえには似合わねえ。
Didn't know he had a man like that.
That hit me really hard.
Askeladd having a similar idea to Thor's.
Leaf!
York! Aren't we going to York?
The king was, I
the
think.
King's going to.
Okay, that was Vinland Saga, Season 1, Episode 20. That was an amazing episode. I was so... my eyes were glued to the screen. I feel like I didn't blink.
I also don't think I, talked at all or opened my mouth much at all either.
It's interesting because I don't feel like I'm gonna have too much to talk about. And I always ramble and talk about stuff. But I feel like because of the nature of the episode and how... I thought it was extremely well-paced. It felt like they had a story to tell, and they did it perfectly.
So I think if I try to start to describe what type of episode this was and why it would give us the feeling that we don't have much to say in regards to it, other than maybe talking about things we liked.
Yeah.
Is probably because the kind of position that this episode holds is a position of it's starting something, like something is being put into motion, like a new chapter. Same with the very, very end of last episode. It was like something new is beginning, and it hasn't quite begun. It's just starting. It's just starting to rumble a little bit with this episode. We are interacting with the king. Canute is able to show everyone kind of what his intentions are and how he's changed. We get ideas of future characters to have our eyes on, like Ragnar's brother, and Floki's involved. We get a setting of a banquet. We get the idea of a reward. We're getting all of these little elements that are both closing chapters, like Atli and his brother, and then giving us stuff to pay attention to going forward in the story.
This is going to sound incredibly stupid because it is. And I'm sure that there's probably a better word or phrasing of what I'm going to say, but I felt like the communication of this episode was goddamn perfect. I feel like everything was so well worded and so well toned and paced, and the atmosphere of every scene was handled beautifully. I think that the direction of this episode was fantastic. I think that can you imagine? I don't know if I've ever seen it done so well, where you have your ad break in the middle of a scene so important and tense, and they don't drop it at all. It doesn't falter. It doesn't drop at all. They gave us the title card, but it's I don't know. It was so delicately done, it felt, but the entire handling of it was great. I think that if you change one thing, then you add something wrong to it. The idea of Thorfinn and Askeladd acknowledging that there are people there hidden and coming up with saying that you might want to take a step back and Canute deciding to go forward with his idea of not drawing a sword, and it's not a battle like that. It's not that type of fight.
Because he also does know his dad. As he said to his dad, he's grown up observing his dad.
Yeah, and I think that them using what they had, the king Swen and everybody surrounding them, and it turning into something of a moment for Askeladd, I thought that it was amazing. And I think that my favorite part of the entire episode is Askeladd and what presence he's able to bring, the acknowledgement of that presence by not only Canute, but by King Swen. I think that, and one thing that I loved seeing from Askeladd that I don't think stories do enough is when you preach something and so heavily as a character, you need to be able to show an audience that they are not just preaching it with hollowness. They are willing to abide by what they are preaching, and it's the reason they're preaching it in the first place is because they've learned from past experience. And every single time that we see Askeladd tell Thorfinn to hold in his rage and not let it get the better of him, it's the embodiment of it this episode, when we got to see how fucking terrifying Askeladd and his rage could be. And he just stayed there kneeling. And I thought, and Thorfinn's acknowledgement of it, I thought that it was so well done. I loved it.
I think that a character like Askeladd shines even more so in this environment for elements of his that, yes, can be talked about earlier than now, but I think they are showcased in maybe a better way in situations like this, which is his ability to talk and how he speaks and how his dialogue is written. That when we see him in conversation with this changed Canute and even with King Swen, there's like a different level and a different showcasing and highlighting that is happening with Askeladd's ability with words, and how interesting the dialogue is, and how nuanced, and how much is being said with just one sentence that can happen now that he's conversing with two different characters that also have that kind of attribute to their dialogue.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it's hard to call it my favorite episode. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in the show recently, but it might be like up there. I
whatever's about to happen, whatever this arc is in the story with Canute's character having such a heavy presence, with what we've discovered about Askeladd and his goals up until now, and how he actually feels about the people that he has been living with and working with, I think that it's definitely like really strong. I think it's been strengthened by Canute's character. I think this story has been strengthened by the introduction of Canute's character.
Oh God, yeah. I completely agree.
And that's crazy to add in a character so not in the beginning of the story that all they do is just strengthen it. Like what was already there was great, but you're adding something in that doesn't detract, it doesn't take away from the who is supposedly maybe the main character, Thorfinn. If anything, it helps create parallels, compare and contrast, but also situational changes for our main character to go through to maybe change themselves and grow themselves, and this character has only strengthened the story.
It's extremely entertaining to watch the development as well, because it's not like I disliked him as a character before his change. Like I loved him as a character, and I loved his words and his interactions with Thorfinn. I loved him saying that he wasn't being a coward, but he was being cautious, and I love him now.
I really appreciated the touch where the three of them are walking. They've just dismissed Thorkel to go get people drunk and be their friend, which Thorkel was like,
good decision.
On your dime, that's the best thing you ever could have said to me.
Yeah, I'm happy I chose you.
And to have Askeladd be like, yes, I'm your follower. You're my prince and future king. And then Canute to be like, Thorfinn, this is what I want from you. I'm going to be calling upon you in the future. And Thorfinn being like, you're not my mom, you know? And then Canute, and Askeladd being like, Canute, I'm so sorry, like trying to make up for his like bratty child. And Canute just found it amusing.
I loved, and then went on his monologue about God and how he will never forgive him, and you can feel this overconfidence a bit, right? Or this like he's so like confident within his own beliefs and what he's going to do that he's like, when God calls upon me to sit by his side, that's when I'll let him know that like heaven is on earth.
There is this element of this confidence to him, while also being incredibly currently intimidating and what I would see a great challenge for the king. I think that it also isn't necessarily overly rude or overly I think there's still an element almost of respect there. Like he knows that other people are going to make their own choices, but he's commanding this attention from them in a way that shows like, I will respect you in terms of like your dedication. Like it will not go unnoticed and unacknowledged by me. Your devotion to me and the cause, and this idea that like to laugh at Thorfinn being like, you're not going to tell me what to do, I'm not going to take orders from you. It's more like Canute has a sense that Thorfinn probably will. Thorfinn would probably respond well to being acknowledged and respected for his abilities.
He already is by being
and
there.
He already is. And I don't even know if we can just chalk it up as he's here because Askeladd's here. I think there are other elements going on too.
By the end of the episode, I know this is so fucking weird to say because it's not the nature of any story or show like this. I could have partially imagined Thorfinn leaving. Like, I could have imagined... Like, I know it wouldn't have happened. I know it didn't happen. But I'm saying that, like, part of me, it could have imagined Thorfinn going home and Askeladd and Canute going forward for years with this mission, waiting for the right time to strike, and it like being like I don't like it was just so, I don't know, it was just a weird thought, I guess, weird imagination I had. So in watching it, I had thought I heard something, and I just want to listen again after the king says walk 10 steps forward, and you get a shot of Askeladd and Thorfinn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And
was that just his foot settling next to his other foot, or was that like an actual 11 step? By
like the sake of the audio, it's, I think, pretty clear that it's just his foot settling himself, but I am going to say that's 11 steps, and I'm going to say that it was a slight defiance.
Okay, because wouldn't you go, 9, 10,
Yeah.
if you were going to actually be listening to what
Yeah.
he ordered you to do. There's a little slight nudge there. Like, I am not going to completely. He's already testing the waters here. He's already
Yeah.
putting out this aura of, like, I am not to be intimidated here.
Uh-huh.
And I think that you're right to kind of, like, point out the decision for the sound here.
Like,
It's very purposefully more than 10 sound effects.
like everything else was silent, so of course I was going
You're
to
gonna be
like
drawn to it.
yeah, and I regardless of if it's right or wrong, I think if it is right, then it is consistent with the air of the conversation and every single word spoken. I don't know. I can't believe Willie Bald's 23. I can't believe that. I cannot believe it. He looks great. I'm
Just
happy
needed
for him.
to be clean shaven and all is well. We are probably going to be meeting Leaf soon or bumping into Leaf soon.
I almost I legitimately got emotional at the Atlee scene.
Yeah?
The second that Askeladd had said, "Don't pick up a sword again," that hit me like a freight train.
There was a few...
After him saying that he was I didn't know that I had a man like this under my ranks.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think there were a few callbacks that weren't very actually obvious to Thor's in this episode to maybe strengthen the idea of then showing Leaf towards probably the end. I think it was towards the end that we saw. It was the very end, actually. I think that we saw Leaf. Not only the idea of a son becoming like his father, and then what Askeladd says to Atlee there about he's not the type of man that like should be with a sword. He should go get a wife, have like animals, and just like live in peace.
Yeah.
And
die in your own bed.
Didn't know he had a good man like that with him. I think that those are definitely callbacks to Thor's. And then to show Leaf there at the end, it's like, okay, some type of chapter. Is the Thor's chapter about to close with having these ideas now being represented by other characters, and then having Leaf, which we knew was kind of that one outlier that still was searching for Thorfinn? Is that a closing of the Thor's chapter to have characters that now represent those same ideals? A Thorfinn that is now grown up and is becoming whoever he's going to be, finding out he has parts of Thor's in himself, and he'll meet with Leaf. He'll tell Leaf he doesn't want to go home, but Leaf will see he's safe and go home to his mother and his sister and tell them that Thorfinn is safe and what Thorfinn has decided to do.
I don't think that the chapter of Thor's in terms of ideology and theme, I do not think the chapter of Thor's will come to a close until Thorfinn inevitably dies. Hopefully in old age in his own bed.
Maybe like closed isn't the right word.
Yeah. I know what you mean though. I know what you mean. I think that
I just don't know if it will be so heavily called upon anymore going forward. I mean, we were, especially with Askeladd, even in the last like arc, we were getting flashbacks from him of Thor's, and we were getting a lot of visual representation, dreams,
and
flashbacks.
We're being given like the look that Thor's had through Canute, you know, like
and lines of sentiment from Askeladd that Thor's would have said.
Yeah.
And then Thorfinn being given the idea that he is like his father.
You know what's crazy? I felt like I didn't trust Gunnar right from the get-go, and we just met him. And then
his personality
Askeladd
was like overly compensating.
And then Askeladd was like, I don't think he's on our side. I was like, I agree, bro. I'm with you, man.
I feel like Ragnar, if Ragnar was alive, that could have been an interesting dynamic, because Ragnar obviously knows the risky, like, tense situation that the prince is in. And it could have been either that Ragnar also would have had that feeling or idea, or that Ragnar would have been in denial of it, and therefore it could have hurt their cause more because he wouldn't have believed Askeladd about it. So that could be an element of Ragnar not being there that might be a safer thing for Canute, because Canute would have heard Askeladd saying that and probably agrees to be suspicious or to be careful.
Mm-hmm. The last thing I have to say is I'm I am very happy with what they're doing with the king. I'm glad that it's not just drunk, stupid. I'm glad that it's the wise king and it's a good match.
Mm-hmm. It was really interesting hearing him describe what he disliked about his father and why he thought that he should take the crown himself, but also identifying what having that power will do to a person, that honesty about the corruption that having the crown will do and take over in you, and almost that it
has its own will.
You aren't living your own life anymore. That idea in itself, being actually admitted to or said by someone, it shows that idea of wise, that he's aware that he can, in his mind, he's not making his own choices and this is not necessarily his will.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still choosing to do it because he is the holder of the crown, and it is like that's his job as the holder of the crown. The crown represents more than his own life represents.
And it's like it's going to like span generations, not just one person's lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this episode.
Agreed. I like where the story's going.
I want to rewatch it.
You want to rewatch it?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see the next episode.
I want to rewatch it and then see the next episode and then rewatch it again.
With the next episode? As like a little mini movie?
I don't know.
Depends how well they go together.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope to see you next time.